In the following lesson I'll show you how to cook the perfect fish in a salt crust. So it's a kind of steaming as well, while keeping all those aromatics and flavors encapsulated in the crust, and that will highly intensify the flavor. First we're going to begin with mixing the salt with some egg white. First mix the salt together with the egg whites and just give it a gentle mix until it's like an even paste. The egg whites is just as a kind of a binder. It's like creating a cement. So just give it a gentle mix till it's one even paste. Now I'm doing this recipe with coarse salt because if you would do this with fine salt, it would dissolve quite fast and then you will have a fish that is way too salty. I'm using coarse salt because it has a thicker grain and it won't dissolve as fast, allowing for a more even cooking process, but it also prevents the fish from becoming too salty. So that looks beautiful. We have a lovely, what kind of cement? You could actually turn it into a beautiful shape. I'm gonna start by putting a third of the salt mixture on my tray because I don't want the fish to touch the tray, because then it will allow a more uneven cooking process, because then the metal will conduct the heat more, cooking the bottom, and then while the top is still undercooked, the bottom will be overcooked. That's why it's important that it's all the way covered with the salt. So a third as a base, just spread it out a bit. Make sure it's thick enough, especially in the middle, and then we're gonna place the sea bass on top. The next thing to do is to add our fish on top. This is a beautiful wild sea bass. I've already gutted it, so I've removed all the intestines and I've descaled it, because more than often you don't serve the skin of the fish when cooking it in salt crust, but you don't want the scales to get in there as well. So that's why I've removed them. Just place it on top of the salt, and then we're going to stuff the belly with some lovely herbs. Over here I have some thyme and rosemary. Just fill it all the way up, and I also have some lemon slices. And then once all the lemon slices are added, I'm gonna cover it all the way with the salt. And now it's time to get my hands dirty. Because now what you wanna do is now you just wanna ensure that everything is totally covered. Otherwise the steam can get out, and you don't want that because you want even cooking. And if there is any steam coming out, then it's gonna present an uneven cooking process. So just gently ensure that everything is covered. Now what you could do is add some herbs on the top to decorate it. You can't really make a pattern in it like with a beef Wellington or with a panteo croûte, but you could add some herbs or lemon or lime slices. I'm not gonna do it because for me it doesn't really add anything presenting wise as well, because if you come with this to the table and you break it open, that's already spectacular enough. So I'm just going to cook it like this. We're going to cook it at 200 degrees Celsius in the oven for around 25 minutes for a size like this. If the sea bass or any other fish was a bit smaller, I would say 20 minutes. And if it's even bigger, then I would say 28, 30 minutes. Definitely don't overcook it. Such a waste of such a delicate fish. But I guess this one needs around 25 minutes. It looks perfect. It has a lovely color. And for this, I always use a big spoon and just start digging on the outside of the crust. Now, obviously, don't really start banging into it because then you will damage the fish. You just want to break the salt crust. And then the moment we've all been waiting for, let's take off the top. Just gentle crush it open, and you'll see this beautiful fish. I mean, just look at that. Perfectly cooked by the feel of it. And that's the only thing with cooking a fish like this. There's no real way of checking if it's cooked, so it's practice makes perfect. But gently just scrape any remaining salt off. So now we can start to clean it. For that, just gently make a little incision on the skin and start peeling it away. As you can see, it comes off quite easy, so you don't need to put any fuss into that. I'm gonna keep it on the side. Make sure it's all the way removed. Here is a fin as well. We want to remove that too to really show the fillet. And then over here is the central spine, so like the big bone. We're gonna cut into that, and as you can see, the juices are coming out. It's so tender, so perfectly cooked. And now you gently want to press the fillet off the bones. You really need to be gentle, because otherwise you will damage the bones and then they will come together with the fillet. You want it to be in one even piece. You could also already portion it a bit. Just look at that. It's beautifully cooked, and the seasoning on it, it's amazing, because that's perfect. Okay, piece of time, but just present it like so. There's not much you need to do with it now. There's like garnish-wise as well, maybe some lovely potatoes, maybe some blanched vegetables, nothing really too strong, because otherwise it will just overpower the lovely fish. And we've put so much time and effort into it, you definitely don't want to do that. This is super, super, super delicious. Watch the entire series on Gronda and start mastering the fundamentals of cooking. Just click the link in the description.